And we are live. What's good, Josh? Man, Dale Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. It's an early edition. It's an early afternoon edition. My daughter wants to do something after school, and if we do it, it's gonna take a while. So I'm like, you know what? Let me jump on now, just to get one done, and then we might do another one tonight. I just want to get back into the swing of things and all that good stuff, bro. Y'all know how it is. I hope you're having to have a good hump day. Today is Wednesday. It's the 13th. So, I hope you guys are having a hump day. You're halfway through the week. You're almost there. Hang in there. So today, we're going to talk about what would happen if men stopped working for 30 days. Have you ever thought about that? Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, man. So, I was watching Manosphere highlights daily. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. If you haven't, you should. It's in the description below. Make sure you hit that subscribe over there. The brother's doing really good work over there. And, he posed that question and did a video. What would happen if men stopped working for 30 days? And for those of us in this world, the guys, people and women, the men and women who are in the manosphere, the red pill, whatever you want to call this part of the internet, I mean, we kind of understand what would happen. Men do the vast majority of work. Like, men have built our society. Men maintain our society. Men continue to grow and advance our society. And I mean, in every community, every bubble all over the planet, is men that do the heavy lifting. Let's keep it 100. Right? That's what's going on. That's who does the heavy lifting. So, the men are out there handling in the sewage, cutting down trees, building homes, building communities, picking up the trash, enforcing the laws. It's men that do that. Now, with all the talk of gender wage gaps and all that, the biggest, you hear that talking point, the gender wage gap. And here recently you're hearing that in sports, especially with the WNBA. The WNBA is saying that we don't make as much money as the guys in the NBA. Like, you're right, you don't, because you guys don't generate revenue like they do. In fact, the league is supported by those guys. It's supported by the NBA. They spend millions and millions of dollars every year on the league that loses money. So you're not going to get as paid. I mean, you would think that you would be happy just to get paid as a professional to play basketball. And the big thing with that is women don't watch the WNBA. Bill Burr did a really great bid on it. Maybe we'll run that bid before we get off of this live here, but they will point to that and say, well, this is proof that men make more than women. It's not fair. It's just because of gender. It's like, nah, in that case, it's because you can't make money off of what you're selling. I've never watched an entire WNBA basketball game. Never. I don't know when their finals are. I assume that their tournament runs like everybody else's tournament. There's never. I've watched college games. I've watched high school games. When you support a neighbor or a family member or something like that, or just a kid that you're cool with, you always want to support kids. Whatever it is they're doing, you want to support kids. They're playing basketball, softball, baseball, volleyball. Doesn't matter, football, band, want to get out there and support the kids. And that's what I do. And I do enjoy basketball. I'm not a huge basketball nut, but I like basketball. We play. I was in the league here, a rec league here in Tampa, which we won. We got a ring. My daughter took my ring, but we got a ring. We got a ring for that league. Came home and showed my daughter, and I ain't seen it since. It's in her room. She keeps it next to her bed. But I like basketball. I will watch basketball. I will watch the NBA after the All-Star break. I will watch the finals, of course. March Madness for college. will absolutely watch that. And then if I get invited to watch high school basketball, yeah, I'll go and watch. But I can't say the same for WNBA, and why I just think is boring. Again, I'm not a huge basketball person, so I'm not really technical. Like, they tell me that's the best under the rim play you're gonna see, and the stuff that they do. I just don't find it exciting. I like seeing the spectacular dunks and the above the rim play, and I like to see all that other stuff. But hey, it is what it is. But the WNBA is saying that they don't get paid the same. Now they're saying that they just want the same percentage split for merchandise and stuff like that, their jerseys or whatever. But they want, but again, there's no profit to share. And I believe that if the women keep this up, they're going to lose their league. Like if the NBA stops with their investment, if the NBA stops putting money into the WNBA goes away. It doesn't even last a season. Right? And I think it's been, well over 20 years. I think like 50 years or something like that. I can't remember, but they've been around forever. It's definitely been over 30 years. Definitely been over 30. Yeah, it's definitely been over 30 years. I remember when the WNBA and their other league combined. I wasn't in the FAA yet, so it was before 98. So anyway, that was just one side. My bad. I went off on a tangent there, but you always hear about the wage gap. You always hear about this gender stuff. What women want to get paid all this money, but women only want to do certain jobs. I've never seen a woman like in the sewer, unblocking the sewer, just swimming around in sewage. I've never seen that. I've seen that with dudes. I've never seen women, with these very hot, uncomfortable jobs. These not American women. I've seen people who come here like immigrants, legal immigrants, and they'll get out in the fields and pick whatever fruit or vegetable they need to pick. I've seen that in very uncomfortable conditions. I've seen and heard of the sweatshops in LA when they're just sitting inside these hot buildings, just sewing away. I've seen that. But, given a choice, most women don't want to do that kind of stuff. They want to work in the air condition. They want to sit behind a computer. They want to do that sort of thing. I ain't mad at them. I'm not mad at all, but you just don't see them, smoothing out the concrete. You just don't see them, demoing stuff, just knocking down drywall. You don't normally see that. So, yeah, if women were to do some of these jobs and they're qualified to do those jobs, they will make a lot more money. I just never really bought into that. People like, oh, women get paid less than men. If that was the case, man, you would never hire men. Like, why would you hire men? Just hire women. Or just, you want to cut on your labor costs. That's the way you would do it. If that were true, I really don't believe it's true. And I have a conversation with a young brother about this WNBA thing, and he's younger, and he was, college educated, and he was really on that. Like, no, it's true. They are underpaid. I'm like, bro, no one goes to their events. But this guy's a huge basketball guy, so the way he see it versus the way I see it completely different. I'm like, bro, no one goes to the games. They're not making any money. How are you going to pay them NBA wages when, they can't sell out these small high school arenas or wherever they're playing? They got these big arenas too. Like, they got huge arenas. But, you have in Cincinnati, when I was growing up, there was a high school rivalry called the Crosstown Shootout between Withrow High School and Woodward High School. Like, those games had to be played in arenas. It was so big. That game was so massive. It had to, when I was coming up, those teams, like Woodward was one of the best teams in the nation. Withrow was good, really good. So when they played, they couldn't just play in the high school gym. They had to go play like where the Xavier Musketeers played, or had to go play where the University of Cincinnati Bearcats basketball played, arenas, and was filling them up. That was high school. I'm not seeing that with the WNBA. I'm sure with their finals or when they come to see Caitlin Clark or a player that they like, that game might be fairly full. But, we've had social media influencers, YouTubers go in there and go to sleep, get courtside seats and go to sleep just clowning, doing what they do. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. So it's not about gender. It's all about who's coming out, who's spending the money. And you can't get paid millions of dollars if you're, hundreds of millions of dollars in the hole. So yeah, that's the thing. So let's get back to it. I'm getting too far off track. looking at my clock. I'm like, yeah, I want to stick to my timetable so I can pick my daughter up and stuff like that. Do me a favor, guys. Don't be afraid to like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Let your people know. Definitely want to hear what you have to say. If you think I'm wrong, please, please, please put it in the comments, guys. I want to check it out, and as always, be respectful. Like, the people who leave comments on this platform are always respectful. I haven't had any crazy comments in a long time. It's been about a year since I've had any crazy comments. So appreciate that. Appreciate you guys, respecting the platform and all that. So, let's check this out, man. This is Manosphere Highlights Daily. Definitely check out this channel, guys. If you get a chance, check this channel out. They do really good work. And I've been watching them as long as I've been on YouTube. They just stumble on some good topics. And now they're using, I guess this is AI probably generated, this animation. I don't know where they're getting it from, but this is nice. So please definitely go over there, give them a subscribe, share their content, and help them to grow. So let's check this out. What if men stop working for 30 days? The brutal reality. Here we go.
Let's play pretend, but not that Disney foolishness you grew up on. What if tomorrow every man on this planet just stopped working? No construction, no trucking, no lights, no food, no defense. 30 days. What's under its own attitude? Let's find out.
Ain't that a man?
Everyone loves to say, we're all equal. Cute idea. Reality check? Infrastructure doesn't care about feelings. It cares about who shows up. Let's see who that is. 97% construction, men. 96% truck drivers, men. 95% utility workers, men. 92% military, men. 79% law enforcement, men. 93% trash collectors, men. 88% software engineers, men. So yeah, TikTok.
Hey, all valid points right there. All valid points. You can go and check the numbers yourself. You can go Google it, ask G's, however you want to do it. Go look it up. Go, just look up the stats wherever you get your stats. Look them up in different places. Those percentages seem right to me. I mean, when's the last time you seen a female sanitary worker, like a female trash collector, coming and pick up trash on your block? I'm sure there are some. I saw some in Cincinnati when I was growing up. But like, when's the last time you seen that? I was in the military. Yeah, definitely men driven. Like I said, you guys know I was a paratrooper, Fort Bragg, man. So many dudes there. Like, the women who did come through there, they did appreciate the attention. I ain't gonna lie to you. This was back in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like from 90 to 93 when I was at Bragg, bro, the women there they were getting their share of attention. But men, male driven, law enforcement, men. Although there are a lot more women getting into law enforcement, it's still like almost 80% men. Construction, truck driving. Like you look at truck drivers, like, bro, I mean, I can't say the last time I saw a female truck driver, but my cousin works in a business where he has to deal with trucking. So they're always, bringing in material that they need. And he would tell me, like, yeah, every now and then he come across some women truck drivers. He's like, there was a team, these two ladies who like worked together, and they were doing long hauls and doing this stuff and the hot shot stuff, like the emergency pickups and stuff and drop offs. And he was telling me, like, yeah, there's some women out there, but it's not a whole lot. I mean, it was so rare that he talked about it. He was like, oh, look. So right away, if men stop working, I mean, the electricians, bro, like the guys who deal with the high voltage stuff, I've never seen a woman doing that. The tech engineers, everything they just mentioned. So right off the rip, we know if men stop working for 30 days, there's going to be some problems. Like some very vital services would stop. And we ain't saying like some men. We're saying if all men just were to basically disappear for 30 days and just walk away from it, walk away from society, it's going to be a problem. How long will the lights stay on? Who's picking up the trash? All that kind of stuff. Who's going to do law enforcement and security? Like who's going to secure the country? Like, who's going to step up and do the soldiering, right? It's, aviation still male dominated. Who's going to do all the flying? Who's going to, who's going to fuel up the aircraft? Who's going to maintain the aircraft? I mean, most of that stuff, if not all, it's all dominated by men. Let's continue.
Influencers aren't gonna fix the power grid. You unplug these men, your Wi-Fi, your DoorDash, your no filters, no ring lights, no hashtag Monday motivation, just back pain, busted knuckles, and overtime. These guys build your roads, keep your lights on at 3 a.m., and patch up water mains while you dream about becoming a millionaire influencer. And guess what? Nobody thanks them. But without them, everything stops. So what happens when the men disappear? Day 1 to 3, flights grounded, subways frozen, buses dead, garbage piles up. Surprise, rats love effing too. Every male vice president, speaker, and senator. By law, the next eligible official steps in, and it's Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. Suddenly, she's the acting president, thrust onto a platform without a stage, because authority isn't power without people to carry it out. Meanwhile, Twitter lights up with hashtags. Hashtag he strike. Hashtag temporary kings. Everyone jokes about how women got this. Sure, don't believe the waste warning? In 1968, New York's sanitation workers went on strike. By day 3, 30,000 tons of trash buried the sidewalks. One city, 3 days, a mountain of rot. Now picture that everywhere. Day 4 to 7. Then,
bro, that's a great point. And I like the way that he's using real life examples. You got a city like New York, the sanitary workers go on strike, so no one's picking up trash. The trash collectors ain't coming. They're not showing up. And within 3 days, the entire city is like being buried in trash. And that's with other men still working. Like, it's the other men here. I'm pretty sure the people in certain neighborhoods or outside of certain buildings were like, oh, let's load up our trucks and take this stuff to the dump. But in the inner city where people don't have vehicles like that, they don't have the access, it just builds up. And guess what? Here comes the rodents. Here comes the insects. Right? It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you go outside, the smell alone. The smell. Right? Like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? Yeah, at 3 days in, 72 hours, yeah, the city council, like the mayor's office, is probably getting flooded with calls, man. Give them their pay raise. Like, give them their pay raise. What are you doing? Quit playing. Either get them their pay raise or come out here and get this trash out the streets. So you're going to have to pay someone else to do it, which is going to be more than what the sanitation workers are probably asking for anyway. You know what I mean? Like, bro. So no men within 72 hours got a huge problem with just the trash. Just the trash alone. Again, there are no men. There are no one to turn to. There are no bottom 80 guys. There are no friend zone dudes. There's no one to call. All the men are gone for 30 days. And it's just ladies. Like, y'all going to have to figure it out. Get your vehicles together. Throw the trash in the truck. Drive the trash to the dump. You guys are going to have to step up and do the job. Now, would that happen if guys were gone for 30 days and women had to step up? Would the women just allow the trash to pile up? I don't think so. I think the women would understand that they got to do it. They would figure it out. I'm sure there are women in that business. Got to coach them up real quick. Crash training. Hey, we're gonna teach you how to drive the truck. Teach you how to operate a truck. We're gonna need y'all to come on out here and do this. The question is, for how long? Because in this scenario, they don't know that the men will be back in 30 days. It's just men are gone. So women are like, okay, we're gonna do this. How long would the women go around and collect trash before they get frustrated and quit? That's the question. How long? Put that in the comments. If you guys are watching this on Team Replay, how long you think women would actually work these jobs, these thankless, very difficult jobs, before they just quit?
Reality swings a hammer. Gas stations bone dry. Grocery shelves empty. Hospitals ration oxygen. No supply trucks coming. 911 rings and rings. Nobody left to answer. Meanwhile, the new president is live streaming hope speeches under flickering lights because no power crews. TikTok meltdown, Instagram meltdown. Your phone, a brick with anxiety. Here's a reality check. Back in 2022, Canada lost just 10% of truck drivers because of vaccine mandate. Within days, grocery shelves in Alberta were bare. The Premier called it crisis. All the gone. Not 10%, 100%, and it's only day 4. By day 10, it's pitch black, literally and mentally. Rolling blackouts, sewage bubbling in the streets, faucets coughing sludge. Your fridge, dead. Your phone, dead. Hope, deader. And if you think this is doomer fiction, think again. In 2021,
like I said, I like the way he does that. I'm definitely having trouble with my internet connection. I'm gonna have to call up these people and see what's going on. We got Sister Rosalind in the building. What's good, sis? Sister Rosalind in the building. It's like, if memory serves, women stepped in during World War II. When men went off to fight the war, it's not exactly the same, but we did step up. Good to see you back. Yes, I am back. Thanks. Good to see you, sis. And you're right. That is a thing that happened. Ruby the Riveter, I think that's what they were calling her when they were doing the media blitz. We needed women to step up, and they went into the factories to help with the war effort. Absolutely. Absolutely. But got to realize there were a lot of men who stayed behind. So the young men of fighting age went. So you have, from 17 to 30, it was like the bulk of the guys who went off to fight, because as the war drug on, they raised the age, for the draft, they made it higher and higher. So towards the end of the war, I think it's the 77th ID, I think it was. And see, the fat electrician was talking about them. They're out of New York. These guys were like, the average age in this unit was like 24 versus the average age in most units in the Army back then was like 17. So these guys were older men who were not allowed to volunteer or get drafted in the front of the war, like during the, early part of 1942. But then towards 43, 44, America let these men step up. They went off to the Pacific. And normally that was like a Marine fight out there in the islands, but they went out there and fought side by side with the Marines. They were so effective that the Marines gave them all their flowers and gave them respect. It was like, yeah. The fat electrician did a video on it, man. It's called Big Dad Energy or something like that. Definitely check it out. One of the guys who were made famous, who became a legend, that was a part of this unit, was Desmond Doss. That's the medic who refused to pick up a weapon, refused to fight, but he became a medic and saved countless lives while out there fighting. They did a movie about it. So, but now he won the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved so many Marines, even Japanese guys. He was saving soldiers on the battlefield. But yeah, it was different. It was definitely different. Because there were still men around, still men in charge. Think about it. Just think, no men like Pam Bondi would be president, because you go down, you know what I mean, like all the way down, right, the chain of command to her. Like with the secession, like she would be president. You lose pretty much like your Secret Service, mostly men. Right, you're gonna lose the Joint Chiefs. You're gonna lose. I mean, you just lose all those dudes. So, yeah, it's definitely different, sis. Definitely different. But again, this thing in Texas, how the Texas power grid failed in 2021, and who's responsible? I remember this, and people actually froze to death when this happened out in Texas. And yeah, let's just continue.
Texas froze for just 4 days. 200 plus people died from hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning, house fires, and burst pipes flooding entire neighborhoods. One winter storm, one grid failure, $18 billion in damage. Now imagine the power never comes back on because the men who fix it aren't there. The same people who mocked the patriarchy are now bartering stale granola for clean water. Day 20.
Wow, that's crazy. But that did happen. That happened in Texas. And then Ted Cruz, whenever something bad happens in Texas, Ted Cruz always leaves. Like, he took his family and left and then went back to grandstand politically. Man, it was sad. It was sad. But yeah, that's what's going on. So let's get into it. 20 days in, like it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy because we got the trash pickup problem. Utilities are starting to be a problem, right? We haven't thrown in any natural disaster, any storm or anything like that, any flooding or anything like that. If there are no men to help, like these issues that we handle fairly easily these days, we won't be able to handle it as much. Let's continue.
Society's mask rips off. Looting at brunch time. Cops outnumbered. Some officers just don't come back. Fires rage in abandoned stores and apartment blocks. No firefighters to knock them down. Chemical spills, gas leaks, explosions. No hazmat crews left to contain it. Small neighborhoods barricade streets, arming themselves with bats and kitchen knives. Remember Hurricane Katrina? Looters stripped stores bare while rescue teams risked their lives in waist-deep water. That chaos cost over $125 billion in damages and took years to rebuild. And that was just one city, one storm for a few days. Now picture that same raw desperation, but spread across an entire country with no rescue teams coming this time. The same people who said men are replaceable now whisper, where did all the good men go? Day 30, no power, no trucks, no water, no law. The rich run to bunkers, hoping diesel and canned beans outlast desperation. The rest huddle around candles in moldy apartments, whispering prayers for daylight. Cities become tombs. Disease creeps through flooded basements and rat-infested streets. Bodies go unburied, just like during the 1918 Spanish flu, when so many died so fast that coffins ran out and mass graves were dug in city parks. In that pandemic alone, over 50 million people died worldwide, partly because infrastructure buckled under so many sick and dead. Now imagine a modern world. Phones dead, no heat, no clean water, no strong backs left to bury the fallen. Civilization didn't pause, it collapsed. And in the deafening silence, one truth survives. Comfort was built on discipline. Discipline was built on sacrifice. And sacrifice was built by the same men you forgot to thank. See, masculine labor built the modern world. Masculine energy keeps it breathing. In 2018, when California's deadliest wildfires erupted, over 8,500 fires scorched nearly 2 million acres, destroyed 24,000 structures, and killed more than 100 people, all while thousands of male firefighters, utility linemen, and helicopter crews fought day and night to stop them. No viral trends, just grit and elbow grease. If men stop working, the fantasy of independence shatters overnight.
And he has the fact there. I mean, there's fires burning in California right now. Same thing is going on every year. You know, men and women. There are women out there in them fire crews. There are women out there flying the fire helicopters and flying the fixed wing firefighting aircraft. They're out there, but it's not a lot. I mean, I personally know a couple. I know some, female pilots. I was in that world. One of my friends, Desiree, as a matter of fact, she used to fly media helicopters, and it took a long time, but then she finally got into. I think she's flying for the L.A. County, and she's flying fire helicopters. I hope she's still doing it. Shout out to you, Desiree. I hope she's still doing it. But yeah, the vast majority are men, and they go out there and they work hard, and they have to jump on those fires. They like to jump on them at night. That's when the winds tend to die down, so they can fight these fires back, get their fire lines under control, and then the next day the winds kick up, and then they have to deal with that. They just it's like fighting a war, man. They'll gain some ground and they'll lose some ground, and they'll come back and gain some ground. So, but they don't stop. Now, people do thank them out there, but in California, man, it's just something that they deal with every single year. Imagine going through a fire season without men. I mean, all of California would burn down. It would be the Pacific Palisades thing, Altadena. It would be that to the 100th power. I mean, you would lose probably 2/3 of Southern California just to fire. And once those fires get out of control, it's a wrap. But men do that. That's how it works. And then you have people who are, we lose folks. People don't survive this event, and you don't have electricity, so you can't keep the bodies cool. So they're just out in the sun. Again, more rats, mosquitoes, and stuff like that, bro. Like flies. That's when the flies come. And the flies will be all over the bodies, and then they'll fly over to your food or fly over and just spreading disease. Bro, it can happen fast. It can happen fast. That's just a fact that a lot of women just don't want to face that fact. Men did create this world. Men maintain this world, and men will continue to grow our society. All these skyscrapers, the building that you're in, the electricity that we use, the fact that I'm complaining about my internet connection, right? Is some dude's going to have to go out there and figure out what's wrong with the cables, right? It's just one of those things. The internet, right? These apps, all this stuff. Who engineered all this stuff? Who thought this stuff up? Who engineered it? Who put it out there? A lot of men. And most men are doing things so they can make lives for the women that they care about easier. But again, like I think women, especially women in the West, women in America, they're victims of America's success. They don't know what it's like to really deal with tough times. Like something like this, completely foreign to them, because when things get bad, women will run to a guy for protection, for help. I mean, it's just instinctual. When things get really bad, that's when women, I think it was the Takes that were talking about this. When you go to societies that are closer to, to the violence and closer to real nature, when, you're out there living in huts or whatever, the closer you get to that, the more you find women will just naturally fall into their female role. Just naturally. They'll start gathering and cleaning and let you go out and do all the heavy lifting. But then when you get to a society where things have been made easy, women get to talk about stuff. So I think they're victims of America's success. They're victims of societal success. They don't know what it's like to be hard. It used to be hard, man. Could you imagine in 1700s to 1800s, you had to just wash clothes without a washing machine? Wash clothes without indoor plumbing. You couldn't take no shower, had to get into a big tub. In order to have hot water, you had to boil that water. You had to come in with, right, and boil the water and dump it in the big tub thing you're going to sit in. Remember that? A one-room house? One-room house, and it's like 8 kids. And you need those kids because you got, you need labor to help you, tend to the livestock in the fields and stuff like that. It's just, I don't think that a lot of people sit down and think about it. They just don't think about it. It's tough. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. We have conquered all that, which is great. We have conquered all that. But, women, and not just women, even like the young kids, they don't realize that that's what we have done. We've conquered all that. I am checking out my live feed. Uh-oh. I might be having technical difficulties, guys. No, appears to be working. I have to I'll pull out my phone just so I can see what's going on. Appears to be working. I'm definitely going to have to get to the bottom of my technical issues. But let's get back to the video.
Because hashtags don't unclog sewers, tweets don't fly helicopters into wildfires, and corporate suits don't run power lines through a blizzard at 2 a.m. Men do, the kind who show up, shut up, and carry it all while you scroll in comfort. But what do they get for this? Mockery, blame, told they're toxic. Yet they still show up. Why? Because purpose beats applause, duty beats dopamine. But never forget, if they vanished for just a month, this empire of convenience crumbles fast, while many sat safe, scrolling past the wreckage, never realizing who kept the lights on. In 2020, male truckers didn't get to stay home. They drove through the pandemic with exposure risk, delivering food, medicine, and gear, while many sat safe. Freight waves reported on drivers facing infection risk at every truck stop, with no work-from-home option. Transport Topics called them frontline heroes, honoring the daily sacrifice that kept shelves stocked and hospitals supplied. So here's the moral of this not so fairy tale. Respect the foundation, or watch the house collapse on top of you. Men, stand tall, not bitter, not boastful, just aware. Because you're not just workers, you're civilization's insurance policy. Don't let anyone forget it. We men and we. Shit. We working. Protect yourself at all times.
Man, Don DeMarco to that brother. It was a great video. That was a great video. Shout out to him, man. That was a great video. And I got to say, man, I agree with it. You know, it's like it is what it is. You know, I don't know why women get upset when guys say, hey, you know, men built this society. Like, they got so mad at Kevin Samuels when he said it, but it's true. And like I said, I get it. You know, there's just a lot of folks out there who are just, you know, victims of America's success. Just, you know, like it is what it is. Just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to do about it. You know, we live in a society, a free society, where you can say and do whatever you want to do. It's all good. You know, I would just encourage people to sit down and think about it. It's videos like this, like you just sit down, you know, when you which is, you know, you got a moment to get your thoughts together, man. Just you're alone, just sit down and think about it. What would happen if what would happen to society if men just went away for 30 days? Like, when you're driving around, you're looking outside, man. Look, right, that part about the truck drivers during the pandemic. What if the truck drivers stopped? I mean, that would have brought us to our knees. How many people wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for that? They were bringing much needed supplies, vital supplies, like driving all night, right? Exposing themselves. Remember, we didn't know how bad that thing was. Like, they were saying, like, you go outside, you just, you know, breathe in someone else's air and boom, you can have it. I caught something doing that. My doctor told me it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't COVID, but it was something. And it put me down for a day and a half. I've never been so sick in my life. It put me down for a day and a half. My doctor still was like, man, I don't know what that was, because a bunch of her patients had it. But we all tested. We didn't have the thing, right? But it was during the pandemic, and the doctor was like, we can't even look into this. So, you know, there's probably other things that were out at the same time. So you had the you know, the word we can't say. You had the pandemic, right? That came over from whatever country that we ain't supposed to say. And then there was something else going around that got me. That didn't get me. The other thing got me. Like, California was crazy. They shut everything down except for certain things. And those drivers were out there driving. Like, they even had the Uber drivers still working during the pandemic, which I thought was crazy. Like, no one's supposed to be out here. Well, someone's got to take the vital, workers to work and back. All right. But it was crazy, man. It was crazy. Just think about it. What would happen if we lost men for 30 days? All men were gone for 30 days. Man, that's a really good thought experiment. But we have so many people who don't think. I guess we won't be able to have that thought experiment. You know, a lot of folks just sit back. And then, like that Anton Daniels Fresh and Fit video that we showed last night. Like he said, with those girls, on the panel. And, I call them girls because they have a girl mentality. And he was like, you guys can't even answer questions. We ask you a question, you can't even answer the question. You turn it around to, how you feel about something or what this means to you. It's like, just answer the question. So if you're talking to someone, a grown up with a child mentality, and you ask them a question like, what would happen to society if men stopped working for 30 days? Most of the girls, most of the little kids, they can't answer that because it requires thought. They're not going to be able to sit down and think that one through. Oh, women will just take over. We'll do everything. We'll do everything better because we're women and we're girl bosses. Like, oh, okay, then why aren't you doing it now? How you going to do it better when you don't even know how to do it? Like, how, you need to start asking the questions. Who's going to handle the plumbing? Who's going to fix the sewers? Who's going to pick up the trash? Who's going to drive the trucks across the country? Who's going to do it? Well, I'm sure one of the ladies will do it. You're not going to do it, right? Well, no, I ain't doing that. Well, why not? You ain't a doctor. You're not a, you know what I mean? You're not law enforcement. You working at a restaurant or you're a receptionist at some spot. Why wouldn't you jump into the truck? You know how to drive. And then there's, you know, want to move the goalpost or get mad at you about something else. You know, it's just crazy. But if men stops, our society stops. That's just how it works, period. Now, there's another video out there on the same channel, and it's called What If Women Stop Working for 30 Days? And we're going to jump into that one probably tomorrow. We'll probably do that one tomorrow. You know, like I'm doing these early shows, and I still got to figure out the problem with the internet. I got to figure it out. But for the most part, I think we got through this one without too many issues. There was an issue I had. I was trying to add something to the chat, and it came back, and it says, having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection. Internet connection is fine on my end. But, you know, we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what would happen if women disappeared for 30 days. What would happen to society? And it's a good video. I mean, it again, the way he put that video together, shout out to him with the stats and then using, you know, historical data, real-time historical data as to this happened before in this area and this is what happened. This is how society bounced back, or this is how society drowned. So tomorrow we'll do that. We'll jump on. We'll do a quick DL Saint, and we'll do that. Definitely good AI animation. I mean, the animation today is crazy. Like what AI is doing today is crazy. It was great animation, and you know, like he was able to do the voiceover work, which is great. You know, AI's taking over, guys. It's no other way to put it. It's putting animators out of business, putting writers out of business. I mean, how many people are using those AI tools when you need to write something? You know, when I do my Substacks, I run it through the AI tool that they have on Substack. You know, I'm just checking punctuation and stuff like that. But, bro, you can ask AI to write your story in any kind of style you want. So it's just a matter of time before AI takes over completely. Completely. Putting writers out of business, comics out of business, lawyers out of business, you know, editors out of business, underwriters out of business. Like AI is going to take over all that. And then what are those people going to do? That's just another story for another day. Like, how are we going to deal with AI? Because it's here and it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. So, and then if Elon Musk and Tesla ever figures out that Android they're building, that AI bot or whatever it is, man, we're getting closer and closer to the Terminator, bro. You know what I mean? Closer and closer to the Terminator, especially what the military are using with these combat bots that are out there. So, you know, we'll check that out. But I tell you what, they made some combat bots, and the Fat Electrician did a show. It was a group of Marines versus an AI combat bot. Maybe we'll talk about that one too. It was hilarious. It's a very, very funny story. Let's just say it's really hard to beat Marines, and young Marines are the most innovative humans on the planet. The Marines won. But eventually AI will learn. It will get smarter. It will figure it out. But right now the Marines still have the upper hand. So that's it. That's all I got for now, guys. I just wanted to jump on real quick. I wanted to do this. I'm gonna get back on tonight, probably sometime around 8-ish. Like, it depends. My daughter and I have something to do. And then tomorrow evening, I've been invited to do someone's podcast. So I'll get that done, and then I'll let you guys know how that went. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So definitely tomorrow during the daytime, I'm going to do another show. You guys are watching this on Team Replay. I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Sister Rosalind, appreciate you. I'm so glad that you were able to pop in. So glad to see you're doing well. And for all you guys out there who are ninja watching me, I appreciate y'all. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share this. If you share the video, it really helps with the algorithm. And I'll be back. I'll be back later on tonight. We're going to talk about some more red pill stuff, man, some dating things, man, because that's what y'all want to talk about. So that's what we're going to talk about. All right. I'll see y'all tonight. I'm DL Saint, man. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.